The Intel Pentium 4 processor with Intel NetBurst microarchitecture is Intel's newest, most advanced 32-bit microarchitecture. Designed to deliver superior performance, the Pentium 4 processor is ideally suited for the most demanding applications and environments. Intel offers system integrators several desktop motherboard solutions that are designed for the Pentium 4 processor. Intel desktop boards can help you deliver complete platform solutions to your customers quickly and easily. When used with the Pentium 4 processor, Intel's complementary components produce fully compatible desktop solutions. There are several important steps to follow when integrating a Pentium 4 processor-based system. Following these steps will help to assure the successful integration of the boxed Pentium 4 processor in the 478-pin package. Before you begin building a Pentium 4 processor-based system, always be sure to take the proper ESD precautions. This video will explain how to identify key components such as chassis, motherboard, fans, and power supply. It will also explain how to attach the new retention mechanism and how to install the fan heatsink and clip assembly for the boxed Pentium 4 processor in the 478-pin package. The first step is to make sure that the chassis you are using is suitable for the Pentium 4 processor. Key chassis requirements include proper airflow and an ATX 12-volt or SFX 12-volt power supply. The chassis must contain adequate cooling. This is required in order to keep the temperature inside the chassis around 5 degrees Celsius higher than the room temperature. A list of chassis with adequate cooling for the boxed Pentium 4 processor in the 478-pin package can be found on the Technical Center website. An ATX 12-volt or SFX 12-volt power supply must be used in a Pentium 4 processor-based system. Both power supplies have an extra 2x2 connector to supply additional 12-volt current to the system, in addition to the standard 2x10 connector. Most ATX form factor-based motherboards with fully loaded system configurations may also require the 1x6 connector. Consult the motherboard documentation to determine power supply requirements. With the chassis standoffs in place, install the motherboard for the Pentium 4 processor and the 478-pin package into the chassis. Once the motherboard is mounted, the retention mechanism, or RM, supplied by the motherboard manufacturer can be installed. First, remove the 4 white push pins from the RM. Place the RM on the motherboard, aligning it with the 4 holes located around the processor socket. Push down on the 4 fasteners to secure it to the motherboard. Use the white push pins to lock the RM into place. Gently lift up to ensure the base is secured to the motherboard. After opening the processor socket handle, install the processor into the 478-pin socket using the pin 1 markings for proper alignment. Once the processor is fully seated in the socket, close the socket handle. The thermal interface material is attached to the bottom of the heatsink. Be careful not to damage the thermal interface material when handling the fan heatsink. Place the fan heatsink and clip assembly directly on the processor, allowing the heatsink to compress the thermal interface material over the surface of the processor's integrated heat spreader. With the clip levers in the upward position, push down on the 4 clip frame corners to secure the clip assembly to the retention mechanism. Close the clip levers in opposing directions, one at a time, to fasten the heatsink to the RM. The clip levers will require force to be completely closed. Lastly, verify that the heatsink is retained and that the clip frame is properly engaged with the RM. Be sure to plug the fan heatsink power cable into the motherboard fan power header. Consult the motherboard manual to determine the correct fan power header to use. Also, be sure to plug in the power cable for the system chassis fan. Once the system has been assembled, 2 power supply cables must be connected to the motherboard for the system to operate. Following the previous steps will ensure that the boxed Pentium 4 processor in the 478-pin package is installed correctly and will provide your customers with a name that reflects breakthrough performance, innovative new features with proven Intel quality. Intel's latest desktop processor delivers power with purpose and performance where you need it most. For more information about the installation process, please visit the Technical Center website.